So this is the 1978 Autocar Construcktor that I've bought. It's an 8V92 powered truck, 10-speed Eaton with super reduction on it, so 15 speed total. 8V92. It was ex-German military, apparently built under license by Oshkosh, and come in here, it's a C9364B truck. Still got everything like US property, day delivery, all that, and delivered March 1978. It's seen better days. As you can see, I've stripped the cab out to start with general repairs, and we're going to customise this, turn it into a big sleeper. So where this door jamb is here, it'll be cut, and we're going to stretch it, probably 2 metre or 3 metre sleeper cab, so the sleeper itself will end about here. So that'll give me enough space in it when I'm going to shows, to have a bunk, microwave, small fridge, etc. Yeah, just nicer than a tent. Anyway, inside the cab, yeah, not great. So I've taken the floor up. This piece was covering this hole. I'm going to assume it's a military repair. Either that or just someone. It's had something living in it, and I'm going to guess it was a fairly big mouse, because that's a lot of crap in there. Just get rid of that. Yeah, really, it rotted through here, and they've cut out the rot, and rather than weld in a nice new piece, or just replace this complete bolt-in floor section, they riveted this in over the top, and see, it's trapped water underneath it and rotted out some more. Yeah, there's a lot of mouse stuff in there, so that'll be fun. Once the cab's off, it'll be a case to get the high pressure hot wash out and blast it, because I really don't want to piss about with that. Yeah, you can see they mounted stuff through the roof, excessively long bolts, and yeah, just stuff that doesn't need to be here has been done. Where they've put the beacon on the roof, they've sort of obviously knocked down the roof rail support, but not sealed the hole up, so water's been getting through. Same with here where the peak was bolted on, water's been getting through, and you can see there, so there's a hole either side of the cab in the where the gutter meets the roof, and essentially what they did was fill that with silicone, bit of body filler, and paint over the top of it really badly. And then it's starting to go around the tops of the windscreens as well, so all this is going to have to be replaced. But luckily it's nice thick steel for the most of it. I mean, that's probably 1 mil there, but you move down to the dash support, and that's 5 mil on the dash support. So they've used heavy gauge. Floors are about 2 mil, maybe 2.5. I've taken out the original centerpiece here, so I can get to the shifter tower, and well, essentially I'm prepping this ready to be lifted off. The bolts down here that hold it to the frame, not tried them yet, but worst case, I've got a gas axe, so it's coming off one way or another. Outside. So obviously taking the stacks off and started to take off the checker plate. So he's got all this stuff. I knew it was gonna be hiding something. And this is what it's hiding. sort of mess of real bad welds, filler, and yeah, all this is going to have to be cut out again and plated over. As I say, not the end of the world. What I'll probably end up doing here is putting a cross member widthways, and then see the sleeper floor, that'll be, well, the sleeper cab, that'll be the first point of contact. See the gap in the roof gutter up there. Yeah, triple skin chassis. Let me get up. So this did actually have a high ab on it at one point, which is what that valve there is for. There's also a PTO hydraulic pump underneath. Very heavy duty axles. Don't know what they are. Fifth wheel, that's coming back to me. The guy couldn't get the fake wrecker crane off it whilst bolted to the frame, so being removed, and I've got to go collect that. Now, come down here. So I'm going to be stretching the frame and, well, replacing this whole section here, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a big frost crack that runs from underneath that spring hanger to somewhere underneath this spring hanger, and this is a 3/8 pry bar, and I can get that all the way in there. So and it's flexing it slightly. So yeah, big frost crack, because that's 10mm chassis. As I say, triple skinned, so luckily it's only bust out the outer skin, but we're going to replace this whole thing and stretch the frame, so the whole truck will end up when about 4 meters longer, which will allow me to keep proportions for when the sleeper cab's on, and obviously it's going to make the ride a lot smoother, because this is not nice without weight on the back. My friend followed me back from where we picked this up from, about 230 miles away, and he saw the back end lift up off the ground multiple times, and I felt that I was being thrown around that cab like a rag doll. But it is what it is. This is meant to have 40 ton worth of tank on the back of it. So yeah, with no weight, no tank on the back, or no hydraulic winch, no high ab, none of the recovery gear it used to have. Yeah, it's a rough ride. But you can see why the German military spec'd it this way, because it's just nothing but heavy duty. So we move across a little bit. Right away. So there's the roof hole, and you can tell I've been working on the Detroit today because I'm black. Yeah, see the silicon? It's just horrid. And then there's body filler underneath that silicon. Same all the way across. Starting to go in there. The doors aren't great either. You can see that's all crusty, falling apart. Moving down, well, see right through the bottom of the door. So the window regulator has also rusted out, and it's sort of flapping about in there. You can hear it moving. I'm not going to repair it. The plan with this is to put in some electric windows, just a little bit of added comfort, because there's no way I'm going to be able to wind this window down if it's hot while steering on the motorway or just driving in general, because this is definitely two hands on the wheel unless you're changing gear. It's an old truck, and you know, got to be careful. It's it'll catch me out if I don't. And you can see through. I've taken the hatch off here. You can see through the. I don't know if it shows up, but the belt there, one's missing. That one's cracked, so that's getting replaced. All hoses will be replaced. All rubbers. These are the only hoses that will stay. They're pretty new, and the braided stainless. This is the that's the power steering. So that big one and big feed in and return, I think. Yeah, they're not leaking. The braided stainless, and they're pretty new as far as I can tell. So they'll stay. Alternator was actually reconditioned in 1992, so the truck was still in military hands in 92. I don't know quite when it was demilitarized. I'd guess in the late 90s, going by who owned it. Now the original owner who bought it off the military died in 2007 from what I can tell, and his friend bought it off him, who did a bit of the remedial work to it, and it's not the greatest, but it got me here, and well, I'm hopefully going to bring it back to its former glory, with a few, you know, with a few creature comforts. We're going to look at putting vintage air in under the dash as well, so get rid of this because it's stuck on full heat, and I drove it back with nothing but hot air coming out there, heat coming off the gearbox, heat coming through there from the engine, and it was unpleasant. So out with that, vintage air in, and air conditioning will be much appreciated. Moving on, well, more bad repairs, and you see that. It's just horrid. What else we got down here? So we got another hole in the floor. That was just covered up by rubber matting. I don't know what it's going to be like when I try and remove these bolts, but they don't look like they're going to come out without a big fight. Luckily, got a gas axe. Same with the stuff around the back. Oh, and obviously this whole panel is going to come out for the sleeper cab, so it'll be walk through because it's easier that way. And for my friend who's going to be stretching the cab, it's a lot nicer job for him to do it that way than build a sleeper cab that just sits on the back, because that way he can blend the roof in, give it a kick up, so I'll be able to stand up in the rear, and yeah, just generally make it a nicer place to be in. What we're also going to do at that point is move the stacks back, which will sort of enable me to actually hear myself think when I'm driving, because with an 8V92 straight pipe and the stacks right behind the cab, where you can see the old mounting holes where they were, with no sound deadening in here, it was loud on the way back. Get out now. So that's power steering reservoir. Taking that off, just unbolted it. Doesn't need to come off fully because we're just lifting the cab off, but you can see more rust around the sides. In fact, I'm going to get up again on the other side and show you the outside of the doors. So, if I can find a way up. Well, actually, so that's more. You can see the filler level there. Good, probably 1/8 of an inch worth of filler. Whole door's rotting out along the bottom, but it is what it is. bottom of the windscreen, it has started to go. See all this again, body filler. That's obviously a factory join from the roof panel to the cowl, but rather than do it properly, it's just kind of been blown over with what I think is house paint, and that's just coming off in big chunks. Again, see there's about 1/8 of an inch of filler there. Seems to be quite common on this truck. Let's see if we get in here. Should probably brought out a smaller pry bar for this, but there we go. Yeah. See how thick that is? So all this is going to have to be taken back to bare metal, see how thick it is, well, see how thick the steel is, and then I'll decide if we're going to cut this out or if it can be saved. Oh, there we go, there we go. So I've answered my own question because that's rotten, so yeah. We're going to be cutting all of that out. It's just flaking away. Again, luckily the design of this cab is fairly slab-sided, so they're not the hardest panels to shape. And I will probably make it out of thicker steel than it is currently. This truck weighs over 9 tons, so 9 tons as it is, with the engine being about 2 tons of that weight. So a little bit of extra weight here and there isn't going to hurt it. Gutters, again, you see the silicone cut through that. Body filler underneath, and just a mess. Oh, there we go. We're through into the cab. Don't even quite see that, but can get the tip of the pry bar through into the cab. Same with the roof I was poking about earlier. That's a hole through it. That's another 2 holes through it. Another one there. And I can guarantee that underneath this windscreen seal is just going to be rot. So that'll be fun to repair. Same with the area down here. That's, yeah, but it is what it is. It's a 50-year-old truck. No, sorry, 40-year-old truck now. So, no, 43 if we're being accurate. Yeah, wipers don't work. Found that out on the drive home, so that was fun. Couldn't really clear my windscreen when it was puking coolant all over me. So we're going to convert this to electric. Luckily, that spline goes all the way through to the shaft, so all I need to do is unbolt this motor and bolt an electric one on with a 85-degree sweep, and it'll be done. Turbo, I did put pictures of this up the other day. See the V-band clamp's broken, and it's been that way for a long time, so that's knackered. We're replacing that. Probably, I'll have to check specs, but it's probably going to end up being something like an HX60 Holset, or even an 80 series, depending on what housing sizes I can find, just to, obviously it's an updated compressor, updated turbine, and it'll just make the engine that little bit more efficient. Yeah, it is relatively solid other than the cab, which is nice. What else can I show you? I've taken some panels off which are inside. The turbo wheel has actually eaten itself as well, which is down to the steel tubing used to join the rubbers together. That has gone rusty and gone into the turbo, so These are some of the panels that have been removed. Obviously, that's the main air intake pipe, and just see that's crumbling away. So the turbo's eaten a load of that, and it's eaten a load of the steel bits that were inside the rubber piping coming off there. See, that's the floor panel that's come off it. See how thick that is. And see, taking the headliner out, the backboard out, and that's kind of it for the minute. I will be doing more as the year goes on, rather. And yeah, well, the only thing left to show you actually is where it'll come to when stretched. So if I just pause this, if I can work out how to operate a fucking GoPro. Oh, more cars. I'll pause that. This bit would also go in the bloopers if I knew how to edit. And we're back, because I couldn't work out how to pause it. So, just done a little bit of measuring. The tape measure that's out there, I was just checking the wheelbase. We're at 204 inches from the centre line of the front to the centre line of the rear. And it's, you know, it's quite a big truck. With the sleeper cab and the frame stretch, we're going to hit that first cone. That is 10 foot, or about 3 meters. That second cone is going to be where the bull bar ends, because I've worked out if I make a, well, the centre lines of the cones rather, I've worked out if I put a sort of 6 foot deep bull bar on it, that is the end of my blind spot. So anything, and I'll be able to see the tip of it, anything in front of there is obviously safe, and it keeps idiots away from the front of the truck, because when you've got 9 tons, well, 9.25, which is 9.25 is tractor and cab. That wasn't including any of the excess apparently, looking at the data plate. That'll keep idiots off, so I'm happy with that. If you step in front of this, you're going to die, so may as well make them aware of that. I don't know if you can actually see just how long that is, but it is big. That's pretty much me parking that car in front of this truck. That's how much this whole thing's going to grow by the time I'm done. And while I'm at it, this is what else is in the shop. So 65 Mustang Fastback. That's getting a Shirai off crate engine in it. I believe it's a 535 horsepower unit the customer's ordered. Dodge Ram, in for some steering components. Done the bulk of them, just waiting on a few bits to turn up from Rock Auto. Over this side, there's a Corvette C6 over there. Brand new engine for it there. There's the oil cooler off the Detroit actually. Big crack running through that. So a friend of mine is going to nickel weld that, and if that fails, another friend will make an alley version, which would actually be better, because if that drops off, it's not going to try and take your head off like this one did to me. Up there we've got the shop truck. So that's my 2500 HD Duramax truck, 6-speed Allison. It's an LMM. It's the old torque converter out of it. I've rebuilt the gearbox. We used an Elevated Ingenuity kit. I think it's Elevated Ingenuity. It's Mike L's old shop. So Inglewood Trans, whichever kit Inglewood Trans sells through Evan, that's the kit that got put into this. So 730 horsepower is apparently the safe limit now. I'm just waiting on some bits for the transfer case because that is fucked. My old Trans Am, a friend bought this back off some idiot who blew it up. T56 Magnum XL in that. Put in a 5.3 LM7 on a carb. So, well, this is the carnage from the idiot. So, one piston completely blown up, 2 shattered solid roller lifters, a camshaft that is in 4 pieces. So, hold on a sec. There's one piece, big one. 2, 3, and 4. Got a Thunderbird over here. This is 62. The camshaft has flattened itself, so it'll get. Well, it's got a new cam to go in it. I've gone with a Lunati. I think it's a Lunati Bare Bones or a Lunati Voodoo. I'd have to check the paperwork. Obviously, engine's going to get a full strip down, flush all the oil ways, etc., etc., and I'll hopefully have that done in the next couple of weeks. I'm trying to make some space, but unfortunately in here it's a case of yeah, got to do things piece by piece, because this ramp is currently out of action, which means I've lost, I don't know if you can see how long this is, but this is a 10-ton ramp. That's a full-size Thunderbird, and there's more ramp in front of the Thunderbird. It's 24-foot bed on that ramp. So that's probably it for today. When I've got the cab off, I'll probably do another video, and then we'll see just how bad it is. Gonna get the guy in who's local, does dustless blasting, take all the shit off the cab, all the paint, all the silicone, body filler, and I'll see what I'm left with. Hopefully there's something that resembles an Autocar left, but we'll find out.